This is the Conquering Hill podcast with Nicholas Gagnier, and today I have a very special guest, Matthew Tabor. He is the head of retail for Battle Green Holdings, UpTop Dispensary. Hello, Matt. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great, Nick. Thanks for having me. Excited to discuss some things with you today.
Excellent. Well, I just want to explain to our listeners that are old enough to remember a little bit of a timeline of cannabis policy reform for the state of Massachusetts. Back in 2008, voters approved a ballot initiative decriminalizing possession of small amounts of cannabis. In 2012, voters approved a ballot initiative legalizing medical cannabis for patients suffering from serious health issues. In 2016, Bay State voters approved Question 4, the ballot initiative that ended cannabis prohibition for adults 21 and older. As a result, cannabis became legal for adults to grow and possess in the state of Massachusetts on December 15th, 2016. In 2018, the very first dispensary opened up in Massachusetts. So let me ask you, Matt, how did your career path bring you into the cannabis industry? When did you first become interested in entering the cannabis industry? And how did you finally get your foot in the door?
Awesome. That's a great question. Obviously, cannabis has been around for many years, illegally mostly. Starting back in high school, everybody tried it. I was one of the people, of course, that liked it, and it's one of the taboo things of you don't want to get caught doing it. So fast forward to now, where it's recreational legally, it's legal recreationally in Massachusetts. It's a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity for a lot of businesses, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people looking for a career change. So my working background is mostly in retail management. So after graduating from UMass in 2007, I attained a degree in finance. So I was like, I want to try my hand at consumer lending, maybe get into investments. Poor timing. The housing market was down, upside down mortgages. Just a bad time to be a part of that industry. So about 6 months later, I went into big box retail management. So I worked at Bed Bath and Beyond as a manager for them. I was an operations manager for the Boston district. Did that for about 5 or 6 years, and then I went over to CVS Pharmacy. I was a store manager for them for about 5 years. I would say probably around 2017, I could see cannabis was coming soon to the state of Massachusetts, and I was like, how do I get into that space? Like that seems like an intriguing career. Um, a ton of growth opportunity, and just something cool. Something that was illegal for a long time is now legal, so it's going to be, a lot of business, a lot of moving parts there. So what I started to do is reach out to businesses that were going to open up. So the first dispensary, as you said, didn't open up until it was actually November 20th of 2018. So I had a little bit of time to, reach out to some businesses. I did some research, found the licenses that were going to be opening up in Massachusetts, and trying to reach out to the owners, ask them how I get into the space, how do I get into the industry, dropping off resumes. I was grinding, doing anything I could. One of the things I did was I got on LinkedIn and I found people that work in the industry in other states where it was legal, California, um, Colorado, different places, and reaching out to professionals there, the ones that would chat with me in LinkedIn, and they gave me some pointers of how to score an interview, how to do well. So I went on many interviews, trying to get in the space, and finally I landed with a company called PharmaCann, which operates Verilife dispensaries in Massachusetts. I started as the GM in the Wareham location, which was the fourth adult use license to open up, and it was busy. So I walked into a dispensary managing 60 people that knew 10 times more about cannabis than I did. Lines, 1,400 customers a day, 120 to $150,000 a day in sales, and just total chaos. I learned a lot, though. I was there over 2 years. I made a name for myself in the cannabis industry in Massachusetts, and I was recruited by a bunch of different companies. There was a headhunter that approached me about an opportunity to work for Battle Green. So they have operations in Ohio, West Virginia, and they're coming to Massachusetts, and they were looking for someone to open up all the licenses, get the dispensaries going, and really, drive the business and build a brand in the state. So I started there in November of 2021. I worked to open up the Framingham location medically. that opened up in May 7th of 2022. We opened up West Roxbury adult use on Christmas Eve of last year, and then we just opened up the recreational license in Framingham about 3 weeks ago. So it's definitely was a challenge getting in. But I'll tell you, I wake up in the morning. I love my job. I love what I do. I can't picture working in any other industry.
Excellent, excellent. So, I want to give you the floor a little bit here, and I want you to explain your role for UpTop Dispensary right now.
Sure. So my role right now is to work to get the business going. So I actively work with the CCC. The CCC is a Cannabis Control Commission. They are the governing body of cannabis in Massachusetts. So they're the state regulators. We work with them to get the licenses open. It's not a typical business opening up. This is a federally illegal business, but a state legal business. So there's a lot of gray areas, a lot of things that you can't do in traditional retail. So that's been a big part of my job there, and also managing the store teams, staffing. I do all the buying and ordering for the company in Massachusetts, making sure we have the right products. I work with all Massachusetts vendors, wholesale products into the stores, and also do a lot in the community. I do a lot of volunteer work. We work with a lot of different companies in Massachusetts. So yeah, my role is to basically make sure the Massachusetts business is up and going and growing. So it's
Excellent, excellent.
definitely a challenge.
Well, it sounds like you're very busy because from the beginning of 2022 through this December, Massachusetts has already generated more than $88 million worth of sales tax on marijuana, and it's far exceeded alcohol. And in 2021, they did it as well. So there is certainly an appetite now that people can go and buy it, and maybe that the thought of it being taboo is kind of dissolved a little bit, and is becoming more mainstream in a way. You can go down the road and you can find your local dispensary, not just up top. There's other dispensaries all over the state now. So
Oh,
tell me, what is so different between up top dispensary and some of your competitors?
so there is. Let's start off by saying there's quite a few competitors out there. There's probably about 300 dispensaries that are operational right now. Um, yeah, a bunch of different focuses. With us, we're community focused. So our first dispensary that opened up in Framingham, I did a lot of research before it opened up. What's the demographic with the customers around there? We opened up in a kind of a saturated market. One of the things that I noticed is there is a very large Brazilian population in Framingham. So one of the things I did when I was recruiting and hiring that staff was to try to find people that can speak Portuguese. So I think having people that can speak a native language of a heavy populated, sector in Massachusetts is going to kind of make us stick out a little bit. So those members of the community can feel safe and comfortable purchasing marijuana, especially on the medical side where, people take different doses, to help with different, medical illnesses and ailments that they have. So that's one of
Hmm.
the things we went is a community focused approach, and also with hiring people from the community. 75% of our staff lives in Framingham or around Framingham. And the same thing for West Roxbury. We also work with a bunch of local food pantries. We work with local artists. We're actually doing a relaunch for adult use in Framingham on the 24th of this month. We're going to have a local artist painting inside the dispensary. So it's being local. We want to be the local neighborhood shop, almost like when you go to the pub. That's you walk in, everybody knows your name. You feel welcome and comfortable. You like coming back. So that's the vibe that we have in our dispensaries, and the same thing in West Roxbury. So I think that kind of sets us apart, where we know the people that live in the community. We work with them, we listen to them, and we're always up for suggestions to how we can help out as well.
Excellent. Well, I would really love to hear that Bob Marley version of "Everybody Knows Your Name." That would just be dope. Definitely. So tell me, Matt. So, what do some of your clients say about your products? I mean, has their ability to purchase some cannabis from your establishment changed their lives?
Yes, definitely. I think on the medical side, you hear a lot more stories. You spend a little bit more time with them, learning why they're coming in shopping on the medical side as opposed to the recreational side. And a lot of people, have fell on tough times. Some of them, you know, going back to when I worked at CVS, you see a lot of people that are going in for pain prescriptions, for painkillers, being hooked on those and finding a safe alternative. A lot of the medical patients I talk to say, hey, you know what? I don't take painkillers anymore. I use cannabis, to help me with pain management, to help me with, through chemotherapy. It's an appetite stimulant, so it can help, people that feel, the need when they're not hungry to kind of stimulate that and, help people in their lives. So, it is, we've heard great feedback. And what we do too is we jot down different products that we might not carry in our dispensaries, that the customers like, they've purchased elsewhere, and we try to get those in, to help serve them. But it is,
Mhm.
definitely a lot of feedback of, that we care and take the time with the patient. A lot of dispensaries out there, I've visited probably half of them in the state. People feel rushed. There's big lines like, hey, get in, get out, grab your money, get your product, and get out of the door. We don't have that approach here. We're more of, let's cater to the customer, let's help them. When they come back again, we hear great feedback. Hey, thanks a lot for that recommendation. That product really worked for me. Um, so yeah, definitely great feedback on the medical side,
Good.
recreational as well.
Right on, right on. I think we all want to know, where is the cannabis coming from? Where is that field, Matt? We
So
want to go there.
one thing that most people don't know about, cannabis in Massachusetts, every product that's sold in every dispensary is grown and produced in Massachusetts. So with the federal, laws, you can't bring cannabis across state lines. So everything is produced here, from edibles, tinctures, flour, everything you can think of. So it's all local people, local business. I know, there's a lot of people out there like, oh, I don't like to buy stuff from overseas or different countries. Cannabis is a totally, state focused, and grown product. So that's, there are quite a few cultivators in the state. It's, around where I live in Acushnet, Mass. There is probably about 4 or 5 within a 10-mile radius from where I live, cultivation centers, and about, I'd say, 100 to 150 in the state right now.
Wow, yeah, they're serious about this. As I referred to before about the money that is being generated in this industry is astronomical, and it's kind of seemed like maybe did it happen overnight for UpTop Dispensary? I mean, once that they open up the Pandora's box, it just the floodgates just open right up for you guys.
So we entered the market a little bit later on. So we opened up, back in 2022, where cannabis opened up in, late 2018, and really seen the rush 2019. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of business in here. Back when I worked at Verilife, we had, customers you could see for miles. At that time, we were the only dispensary within about a 25, 30-mile radius. So we had people coming, from a half hour away, to come shop with us. And now, the market has grown so large, and everybody's getting their piece of the pie right now. So the business isn't as crazy, but it's definitely still there.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, maybe the possibilities are even endless too. Because when I think about having the ability to walk into an establishment to purchase cannabis, I automatically go back in my mind of when I visited Amsterdam years ago, where I walked into a coffee shop. I was able to buy something, smoke it right there, or take it outside and smoke it, like no big deal. Where do you see this industry going in 5 to 10 years? Do you see Massachusetts opening up, coffee shops here or there?
Oh, definitely. I think probably sooner rather than later. Right now, I know of one private social consumption lounge they have in Worcester, called Summit Lounge, where you can actually go there and consume cannabis. It is a private club. We have to be a member. I think they have between 15,000 to 20,000 members right now there. And I'm sure in the near future there'll be a lot more social consumption lounges. Um, Funny you say that, as I was reading an article a few weeks back about a strip club actually in Western Massachusetts that shut down as COVID hit, and they're looking to reopen. And what they're trying to reopen as is a topless dispensary. So having the workers there working topless and serving cannabis, which I think is unique.
Yeah,
So
I think business would do well there.
it probably would, but obviously they have to go through the CCC and work with the town and the or the city that they're in, to do that. in my opinion, it's probably not going to happen just yet, but it's, the beginning of seeing, you'll start seeing drive-through cannabis dispensaries, probably in the next couple of years, more social consumption lounges, and, you know, kind of loosening up on some of the regulations they have right now, because obviously, as you mentioned before, the tax revenue is humongous in Massachusetts,
Hmm.
the amount that goes to the government. And, that's one of the things, one of the reasons why I could see cannabis becoming federally legal soon is, the revenue part of it. I think they're trying to find a way now to streamline everything because they want that revenue. They just want to do it in the right way.
Right. Now, tell me about UpTop Dispensary. Can do they deliver, or is it strictly online? You can purchase and pick up, or is it just only walk in?
Sure. So we don't do delivery right now. You can order online to do a pre-order, or you can walk right into the dispensary, no appointment needed. Um, we're open in West Roxbury. We have extended hours because we're a little bit busier out there in Boston. Framingham is a little bit more reduced due to the area. But yeah, anybody can walk in for the adult use side if you're 21 plus with a valid ID, or if you're a medical patient, you can visit the Framingham location. We're working on medical license in West Roxbury, hopefully coming sometime this year. And we also have a third dispensary that's going to open up in New Bedford later on this year or early next year.
Nice. And now, what type of payments does UpTop Dispensary accept?
Sure. So we right now we're cash only. We're working to get debit payments. So back at the end of last year, we had a thing in most cannabis dispensaries in not only the state, the country had something called a cashless ATM. So you could use your debit card, but gets processed through the system as a ATM withdrawal. So Visa and Mastercard did not like that. There was several warnings over the years that they're going to pull that system of payments, and they did. So now we're going to a debit form. I'm actually going through the contract now to get a vendor in to make sure we have that in dispensaries. But yeah, we can't take credit cards, and that's any cannabis dispensary due to the laws of the federal government and banking laws. We cannot take any credit cards there. No Apple Pay, things like that. So it's basically cash or debit card.
Hmm. Now, can you shed some light on maybe some behind the scenes of how UpTop Dispensary had to cut through some red tape to dealing with the state government and the federal government?
Oh, sure. So, they started out getting these licenses ready in Massachusetts, and, you have to go through a series of steps. So, one of the first steps is kind of working with the community, have like a host agreement, making one of them with Framingham, West Roxbury, New Bedford. Coming to agreement like if we're going to have an establishment here, here are going to be the rules. They give us a certain amount of hours that you can operate in. Um, they go through and vet your business plan, make sure you have the correct parking, security, cameras, everything there, and follow the guidelines. With cannabis deliveries, getting the product delivered to the stores, a series of inspections. There are, multiple inspections with the CCC to ensure that you have a safe environment. Make sure that you're up to the full compliance, which there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of compliance that I've had to read through, over my years in cannabis to be compliant there. But yeah, it's a long process. For example, if came across some money, you wanted to invest in a cannabis business, you want to open one up from start to finish, probably 2.5 to 3 years to get one going, with all the struggles and loopholes that you have to obey by to open up the dispensary.
Wow, so it certainly sounds like it takes some dedication, some determination, and some money to get
Yeah.
that ball rolling. I mean, we all heard growing up, Matt, marijuana was a gateway drug. First maybe you started drinking and then you started smoking some marijuana, and then, leads to other hardcore drugs. Do you feel like that myth has been disproven now that we all see how well the cannabis industry is thriving?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, there's never been any proven research that supports that it's a gateway drug. Um, the vast majority of consumers, don't get into other drugs. If you look back at the presidents of the United States, President Bush, President Clinton, President Obama, they've all consumed cannabis. They've, admitted to it one way or another. I'd say probably more than half of Americans have. Um, and it's the effects of it. I think they're more medicinal, you know, than reaching for something that's really going to get you high and knocked out, and kind of take memories away or whatever some of those other drugs do. But it's I think that myth is has passed, and people
Mhm.
now are coming in. I see people of all ages, backgrounds. I've seen politicians. I've seen celebrities. Police officers, shopping dispensaries. So I think now people are more comfortable with it, and that stigma of cannabis is a bad drug that's kind of on the wayside now.
Mhm, mhm. Tell me about that event you went to today, Matt.
Yeah, so I went to the largest cannabis convention that they have in Massachusetts yearly. It's called AnyCan. They had the Heinz Convention Center in Boston, and basically what it is, it's represent. There's people from all different areas of cannabis, from banking, um, from logistics, dispensaries, wholesalers. So it's a big networking event, basically to learn what's coming in the cannabis industry, what's new, and to kind of work on wholesale, get your product out there, get to know what's on the market, what kind of new products are coming aboard, what are the trends that are going out there, and yeah, it's definitely a great time. It's a great time to see some old friends that I worked with at Verilife, and being in the industry for almost 4 years now, and kind of connecting to them and seeing how they're doing in life, what they're up to and what their goals are. So it's a great event. They actually had Cypress Hill there performing at an after party
Nice.
yesterday, and I think I was telling you before, Mike Tyson is usually at these events. I didn't see him this time. Um, Montel Williams was there. Some other people that have their cannabis brands, but it's exciting. It's also open to the public, people that aren't in the industry. That you can kind of go through, talk to some people of if you're interested in starting in cannabis, not just being a retail, but maybe someone that's in delivery or um, a medical marijuana doctor or anything like that. There's it's awesome. So I encourage people that are thinking of getting the cannabis industry, even if it's just a bud tender role or entry level role, go check out one of those events. It's you get a wealth of knowledge, and everybody is super friendly and welcoming there.
Excellent, excellent. So, one more time, tell us UpTop Dispensary's hours of operation, Matt.
Sure. So we're in Framingham. We are open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. And Sundays we're open 11 to 6:30. So we're a little bit of reduced hours there because we're getting we just launched recreational. After we have the relaunch party on the 24th, we'll probably expand hours a little bit as business grows. West Roxbury is open 9 to 9 Monday through Saturday, and Sundays we're open from 10 to 7. Um, and yeah, both dispensaries have ample parking, nice lighting. It's a safe environment. I tell people all the time, like, don't worry about going into a cannabis dispensary. Like, no one judges you. It's a very safe place. It's super compliant. There are cameras everywhere. You don't have to worry about,
Hmm.
anything bad happening. That was one of my biggest fears getting in cannabis. It's like, hey, you're working around a bunch of illegal drugs. How safe is it? It's super safe. And all the customers that have been here, very, very, I can count on one hand how many times I've had a disgruntled customer. So it's definitely a rewarding place to be at.
Nice. And can you give us a timeline on the New Bedford location? Do you have any ideas?
Sure. Yeah, we're working on that one. It's a new build, so it's gonna take a little bit of time. We're probably gonna focus on it the second half of the year, and hopefully open up the end of this year or early next year.
Excellent, excellent, Matt. Well, thank you for joining me today on the Conquering Hill podcast. You can get your favorite cannabis from UpTop Dispensary at West Roxbury or Framingham. Thank you again, Matt, for joining me. It was a pleasure speaking with you. And if you would like to support the Conquering Hill podcast, please go to Amazon.com and order my new book, Conquering Hill 50 Writing Prompts for a Dream Chaser, and Etsy.com for all your Conquering Hill gear. Thank you so much, Matt. It was a pleasure speaking with you today, and hopefully, once you open up that New Bedford location, we can get you back on.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Nick. It's been a pleasure.
Take care.
All right. See ya.